While a series of payments were made to many middlemen and others, the information that Sonia Gandhi's friend Ottavio Quattrocchi was paid a huge amount was the most explosive piece of information that came out in news reports at that time. The AE Services contract, the front for Mr. Quattrocchi, was personally handled by Bofors chief Martin Ardbo. The payment for AE Services was in millions of dollars and had a strange condition that it would be paid only if the contract was closed with the Indian government by March 1986. Olof Palme informally closed the deal with Rajiv Gandhi in January 1986. Just 1 month later, he was mysteriously killed. And then, exactly 1 month after his killing again, on the 24th of March, the deal was signed and the money was paid. The kickbacks were paid. It's like the entire Indian political system was working overtime to ensure that Quattrocchi got his millions of dollars. In this backdrop, listen to this part of Sten's revelations, where he says the payoffs were much, much bigger.
Is it your impression, or is it your informed thinking that Ardbo knew much more, i.e. there's much more to this than both you and I know? I mean, me having worked as a journalist and you as the principal investigator. For example, Ardbo gave you some information because he didn't want to go to his grave. He had in his diaries, he said, if I open my mouth, governments will fall, but he did say something to you. Is it your impression that there's more information that we don't know? For example, that the entire amount of the bribes were paid?
Of course, there must be more than that, because this information he gave me, this one with the talk about the Bergslagsfonden and so on, it would not tumble any government in Sweden, because the money was eventually paid to the fund. That there were no politicians or anyone else who got any hand on this money. So it was. This information would not tumble a government in Sweden anyway. So that, of course, there must be more information.
But his concern was in India, because in his notes,
yes, also I think
he had said that the involvement of Q was a problem for R.
Oh yes, but I think that what he might have meant was that the government of Sweden officials, maybe Olof Palme as well, knew more about the payments to other than the appropriate payments that should be done, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, sure. Following the investigation, there was a whole series of whole body of work done in Switzerland, and in 1997 there were these two boxes of documents containing the Swiss documentation from the banks sent to India in 1997.
Yeah.
And nobody knows, or people who know are not saying what was in those boxes. Is it your understanding that those boxes contain important clues to how much monies were paid, more than what is known publicly?
Yes, of course, absolutely.
In his notes reported in the 1980s, Martin Ardbo had said that links between two people, Mr. Q and Mr. R, were a huge problem and should be protected at all costs. This corroborates the version given by Sten Lindstrom, who is now pleading in his interview to Republic TV that the Bofors boxes should be opened up and the documents studied.
If you look at the contracts, either with AE Services or Svenska or the three, Lotus, Tulip and Moblom, the contractually bound payments were much larger than what was publicly caught. And people who know the story have been telling me, and presumably telling you as well, that much more money was actually paid. So when people say Bofors is finished, it will not be finished till we really find out what happened. For example, what you've just told us now about the conversation between Mr. Gandhi and Mr. Palme about the foundation.
Yes, of course. Yes. Yes, absolutely.
If you had a free hand now, for example, to do what needs to be done to go to the end and close this case once and for all, what would you do, Mr. Lindström?
Well, I would like to. The problems for the investigation in Sweden was what you just mentioned happened in '97. We didn't get those boxes of documentation of how the payments via Switzerland had been distributed to the end. So if we had had any possibility to look into that, I think we would have come much longer in our investigation. So that was the main reason why Mr. Ringberg, the prosecutor that led the investigation on the prosecutor side, that's why he put down the investigation in 1988 early.
There's been talk in India recently, in this week and a few days, this week, that there are political parties, for example, the ruling BJP, some members or other, of the alliance, they're wanting to reopen the Bofors case. It was artificially shut, and Mr. Quattrocchi was allowed to retrieve his money from London. It made its money all over and then came to London, and the case was, the case was shut soon after he retrieved his money from London.
Mm-hmm.
There are calls now to reopen the case. What is your view on that?
Well, of course, if the documents from Switzerland was handled in a proper way, you could get much more information that you can investigate further on. But yes, I think it would be good if you could come to a conclusion about what really happened. It would be, I think it would be good to do that, because this was a big thing, and I think it's a thorn in the side of everyone that it's not really investigated to the bottom.
That we did not get to the bottom of this. Yeah.
Yes, anyone. I don't personally. I of course.
That's also my perspective, having worked on it for 10 years.
Yes. Mm. You've been working for it on it for 30 years.
So here we are now, sitting on a mountain of fresh and sensational revelations on Bofors. That Rajiv Gandhi was aware of illegal payments made for the Bofors guns. That Sweden took instructions from India on the bribes, not just in the run-up to the deal, but the cover-up to the deal. And that two democracies colluded to deceive their own citizens and save the politicians who organized the bribes. Bofors was the worst political scandal of the 20th century. Republic TV is beginning a fresh series of exposés. The new evidence comes at a time when there is a move in India to reopen the deceitfully closed Bofors investigation. Bofors has damaged every institution in India, including the army. If it is nation first, the Modi government must act and open the Bofors boxes for public knowledge without any delay.